I will have opening remarks and then I will give floor to you. I would like to welcome you all to these SEPEV days. As we did last year, we are having this online session and we have panelists from different parts of the world, and we hope that it will be a dynamic and vibrant day for all of us. And we would like to thank the organizing team. We, as the SEPEV, the Zero Energy and Passive House Association, we have done a lot of things in this period. I'm happy to announce that our website also shows all these details, and we provide details about the passive house, and we have translated a brochure into Turkish, and this brochure was translated by our members and also by other relevant colleagues. So I would like to thank the translation team. Another good news is that the Zero Energy and Passive House Association was approved by the German association. That means the trainings that are conducted by the German association will be given in Turkey. And we have translated also these trainings into Turkish. That means there will be trainings to certify these people who are interested in this issue. That means we will have designers, consultants, and also implementers, practitioners for passive house. And we hope that there will be an increase in the number of passive house. And I would like to inform audience who is willing to join our trainings. We will have an English course from 2nd to 10th of October, and we will have also a Turkish version in November. Of course, as I said, we have translated these trainings into Turkish, but we will continue to have these trainings in English, and the fee is relatively cheap comparing to other countries. And we will have these trainings. So I would like to thank all the trainers who accept to work with us, who accept to continue cooperate with us. So we always say that we should not train good designers only. We also should have people who build these buildings in line with the designs. That means these designers and also practitioners should know how to build these buildings, as you know, because any problem during the construction phase may create certain problems, especially in Northern Europe. It is important to train and build their capacity when we talk about people who work on the site, and we can provide this type of trainings. There is another good news is that, as my colleague stated on the first day, in cooperation with the Zero Energy and Passive House Association, there is a Turkish firm which manufactures windows. And these windows, in fact, will be used not only in our country, but across the Mediterranean region, because this production process is important, and the product will facilitate the process to everyone. And if you want to get more information about this issue, you can follow the session TR 34. And while we are working on this passive house, the key issue is the preliminary high preliminary cost, and there are also some restrictions related to materials. This is why it is a good news. So today we have esteemed panelists. Now I will give floor to Kayhan Özüm, who is the Deputy General Secretary of the Union of Municipalities of Turkey. I would like to inform you that Mr. Kayhan Özüm has to leave early. So if you have questions, you can ask your questions directly to him right after he finishes his presentation. Let me introduce him. Kayhan Özüm was born in Diyarbakır. He studied his high school in Ankara. Then he studied at METÜ as a meteorological engineer, and then he completed his MA in the Department of Industrial Engineering. he began working as an deputy expert of the European Union back in 1995, and he became an expert. In 2001, he moved to the EU Directorate that works under the ministry, and he worked as the General Secretary. But after the restructuring, the European Union Ministry was established, and then he worked as the Civil Society Department, and he also worked in Brussels, and he represented Turkey as the Undersecretary of the EU, Turkey's representative, permanent representative to the EU. Yes, the floor is yours. Mike, please. I'm unable to hear you because of mic. Yes, can you hear me now? It is the common problem that we all have. I'm very pleased to meet with you again because we are closely following your activities. We are fully aware of the outcomes of your events last year, and I am following the sessions this year. I will just talk about some issues that you are all familiar with. For example, the pandemic reminds us of the severity of the climate change because we realize the upcoming disasters because we are living in urban areas and people move to urban areas to produce more, and this is why there is this concentration in urban areas. Of course, we need to produce some solutions to these problems. In the past, while we were living in rural areas, I'm sure we were saving more energy or we were not creating so much problems. But when we move to urban areas, we consume more energy. And during the pandemic, what we have observed that there has been an increase in electricity, water consumption, and other types of energies. Also, as you know, the President of Turkey announced that Turkey would be a party to the Paris Agreement, which is an extremely positive news for us. And we are working on this issue, and I'm sure that we will raise awareness about this issue at the country level, and then we will show it to the international arena, because the global warming will be increased up to 1 point or 1.5 degree. And we are all aware of the destructive impact of the global warming and climate change. So we are working very hard as citizens and also as the units of the local administrations and also the central government. We as the local administrations, which I'm working for the Union of Municipalities of Turkey, as you might have noticed, I'm talking about urbanization, and if the pace doesn't change, there will be an extreme increase in the urban areas. That means it will be equal to building an area which is equal to Paris every week. And that means buildings in urban areas will consume more energy. That is what we should prevent. As you know, our country is well known by its contractors, and we are number 2 following China. So the construction sector is very important in our country, and raising awareness in this sector is very important. As you said, it is very important to raise awareness among other manufacturers, like the manufacturers of glass, manufacturers of windows, or other type of manufacturers. And I think it will be very important. Hope that new buildings will be important, because as you know, in rural areas, you build houses which are in line with the requirements of nature and environment. For example, if you build a house, then you have to pay attention to moisture. And if it is in the southeastern part, which is very hot region, then you pay attention to these type of climate requirements. But in recent period, we mainly use, contractors mainly use steel or different or the same type of materials irrespective of the location. And our municipalities are working to monitor this issue, especially to reduce the energy consumption in buildings, in workplaces. And we support these type of initiatives, and we receive our budgets from the municipalities. Accordingly, we carry out our activities to protect and promote municipalities' interests. For example, we have smart city programs or the zero waste programs, and this year we have this green cities program, which is very important for us. This is a program that reflects the municipality's efforts to achieve these life quality and also promote environmental issues. We have launched a competition. We received some applications, and our jury is examining all these applications from municipalities, and we will announce the results very soon. And these competition covers the areas of energy consumption, the use of lands, and also respecting the rules and regulations in regard to environmental issues. We also have cooperations at national and at international level. We have established a special to cooperate with these type of initiatives, and also we are running special programs. In fact, this is what I would like to share with you. If you have a question, I will be more than happy to answer. I have 5 more minutes, then I have to leave. So if you give floor to next panelist, I can answer the questions in written as well. Thanks for your presentation. Thanks for providing these information to us. And we are fully aware and closely monitoring your initiatives. And I'm sure that it will make the society better. If there's any question, I will refer to you. Thanks. Now, I know that you have a busy schedule, so you can leave at any time you wish, or we will be happy to see you with us if you want to stay, of course. Now, we have Susanne Theumer with us. I will introduce her in English.
Susanne Theumer to make her presentation, but before I would like to share a short biography of Susanne with you. She is a senior consultant and building certifier at PHI Institute, master engineering, architect, and accredited PHI certifier. Susanne Theumer is specialist in energy efficiency and PHI building certification. Since 2008, she is working at PHI in Darmstadt. Before, she worked 3 years in Dublin, Ireland, and was the project architect of the first certified PHI supermarket in the world. She was born in 1978, studied in Nuremberg, Würzburg, and Hanover, architecture, civil engineering, and energy design in buildings. She has participated, among others, in consulting and certification of many of the first projects under the PHI standard in countries such as Chile, Mexico, Spain, and Japan, as well as different rehabilitation projects under the NRF standards. She also worked on several EU projects dealing with passive house discretes and step-by-step retrofit with passive house components such as PASERC, Triancast, and NRFit. In various development projects in for Mexican government, GIZ and KfW, she plays a key role, provides a cost-effective solution, and ensures knowledge transfer. Yes, Susanne, we are listening to you.
Many thanks, Seda. Welcome to everybody. I'm delighted to be here at the Zero Build forum with you. I will focus my speech today on passive house components because they play a key role in energy efficiency and to achieve the climate goals that we all want and need to work on in the next few years. So when we look at the retrofits, a big target in most of the countries, so not only new buildings in passive house standard, but also retrofitting existing buildings with passive house components. It is very important that you do it correctly now. So you start with the highest efficiency with the passive house components from the start. Even if you don't do the complete retrofit today, you can do it step by step. That means component by component or facade by facade, but to do it in the way of high efficiency. If you do it this way, then you achieve in the year 2050 the so-called NRFit standard, which was defined by the Passive House Institute, and it is the retrofit standard with passive house components. So it's an energy retrofit using passive house components that we know from the new buildings. Same component, but applied in existing modernization of existing buildings. Here we see the different, as an example, the different situations. So we have a huge heating demand at the beginning when we start to look at the existing buildings, and then component by component, here for example windows and ventilation, we do it now with passive house windows and ventilation with a high efficient heat recovery and low electrical consumption. Then in the year, for example, 2028, we insulate the basement ceiling and the roof. And when we have insulated the roof, there's also a great possibility to put photovoltaic panels, PV panels on the roof as well. And so we drop every step, with every step the heating demand, and in a cooling climate, of course, also the cooling demand. If we don't do it with passive house components, but with the components that are conventionally used, then we see that the drops are not so strong. So the difference is getting bigger and bigger at each step. And this would means to have not used all the possibilities that come with the moments when you want to improve a component, and creates so-called lock-in effects. These lock-in effects are very dangerous for our climate, because it will not be cost efficient to put insulation now and then in 10 years, when we see that we should have put more, to put again more insulation on the walls. And we spend every year a lot of energy for heating and cooling. However, if we do it with the components available now, and we will see that now in my presentation, available right now and for the last years already in our markets, passive house components, high efficient, then we use the full potential of them, we get a lot of advantages, and we achieve, not immediately, but when the building has been retrofitted with all the components it needs, we achieve in the future, for example, here in 2050, the ENERFIT standard. This is a very climate-friendly standard, and the space heating demand is so low, you can see it now, from 180 now down to 25 kilowatt hours per square meter in year for space heating demand, that the remaining heating demand can easily be produced by solar energy, by renewable energy in general. So wind, water, solar, or also heat pumps. So how do we do this? We calculate with our tool, PHPP, Passive House Planning Package. This is an energy balance and also optimization tool. So it's helping us to design not only passive houses, but also efficient retrofits, namely retrofits with passive house components. It's based on Excel. So with these Excel worksheets, we can go into all the fields of energy that is used in a typical house or building, and we can address the efficiency of each part. It is an international tool, so it works in all climates, and it is has been validated. So we know that the calculated demand that comes as a result from PHPP match very well with the real world. There is also an addition, which is called DesignPH, which is a 3D tool, a SketchUp plugin, so you can also design in 3D and then export the geometry automatically into this Excel file. So PHPP not only gives us the space heating demand, but also the maximum heating load, the cooling and summer comfort criteria. So we design the building not only to comply in the winter situation, which is important because we spend a lot of energy to heat our buildings, but also for the summer conditions. We spend more and more energy also for cooling. And here we can optimize everything using passive house components to bring down both demands, heating demand and cooling demand. And of course, everybody is using more than heating and cooling in our houses. We also have a fridge, we have computers, we have a TV, we have a lot of electrical appliances, household appliances, and they also spend energy. This is why there's also the for certification, for the passive house or ENERFIT certification, there's also a criterion for the primary energy demand, which covers all the energy services in the entire building. So here we get a limit, and we have to be very efficient. So use appliances with A or A+, throughout the building. And we can also, with PHPP, calculate the production of renewable energy. May it be on your roof or nearby a new wind turbine. You can calculate this energy production in the PHPP worksheet. This is very important because PHPP makes the values transparent and comparable worldwide. We can calculate existing buildings, which we can see here in this graph. Again, the heating demand of the different houses are here. We have 41 dwellings, 41 houses, and everybody has a different energy demand. Why? Because in some houses, older people live and they want it a bit warmer. In other houses, there's people who hardly switch on their heating system. And this is a very typical curve that you find in all buildings if you monitor enough buildings. And you find the same curve also in passive houses. But the main difference is that the passive house curve is in average around a value of 15 kilowatt hours per square meter and year. So has a very low space heating demand. In the case of the retrofits with passive house components, the EnerFit buildings, we have a very low space heating demand of around 25 to 40 kilowatt hours per square meter and year. And here you see low energy buildings, but imagine existing buildings. For existing buildings, we are above 100 on average. The PHPP results are the calculated results is the red line, and the blue line is the measured values from the monitoring. And we can see there's no performance gap when planning with PHPP. So the design tool is ideal for designing efficient buildings such as passive houses and nearly zero energy buildings that the EU, for example, is asking for. As I mentioned, PHPP is an international tool. It's available also in Turkey. The translation is ongoing, so we will soon have the tool in Turkish. For now, we have it in English and in many other languages. It exists in the market since 1998. The design pH, as I mentioned before, draws the building in 3D, and in red you see the thermal envelope, and in white you can also draw overhangs, shading elements, neighboring buildings, trees, etc. And then you get a pre-calculation directly in this design pH tool, but you can then export the geometry, the shading situation into your PHPP Excel tool. In our component database of Passive House Institute certified components, we have more than 1,100 components, and they are in different categories. We have the opaque building envelope components like wall systems, floor slabs, balcony connections, attic staircases, or airtightness systems. We have the transparent building envelope components, which are the windows and doors, but also roof lights or curtain systems. Part of that would also be sliding door services where we have typical systems that we can use for passive houses, which means houses that hardly need any heating or cooling, but they have to be very efficient and small enough not to run in on-off mode, but to be small and efficient. And therefore, we have the compact heat pump units here. We also have the different type of ventilation systems. For typical buildings, apartments, we have the smaller systems. And then for supermarkets, hotels, swimming pools, hospitals, there is the ventilation systems with a huge capacity, more than 600 cubic meters per hour. And fairly new for the last years, we have in certification various shower water heat recovery systems that reduce the energy that we need for hot water in our houses. This is an example of a certificate, a component certificate here for a window frame in the warm temperate climate zone. So you can see in the on the world map for which climates this window might be suitable, and you can put it in your projects, not only in the new build passive houses, but also in the retrofit of existing buildings. Sometimes you achieve the passive house standard retrofitting with passive house components, but most of the times you will not achieve passive house standard, but you should aim for the best efficiency possible for each component, and then you will get awarded the EnerFit certificate. So we certify these components, and when you use components, certified or not, and you enter your building in PHPP, you can certify, you get your building certified. All the values that you need for your energy balance calculation are listed in the certificate and are automatically also forming part of the latest PHPP version. In addition, you see how to install this component. Here, the window, how it's installed in the different wall types that exist, and the corresponding installation values that come along with it. And I'm very happy to announce here that my colleagues also have certified the first Turkish frame, window frame from the company Revotech, manufacturer Edge Profile. And this is also now part of our database and is suitable for the warm temperate climate zone. So congratulations to the team involved in getting this frame certified. This is very important to us because we support the local manufacturing and the local availability of components. So we always try to work with the different companies through our partners, through our affiliates from our IPHA network, and try to establish the knowledge transfer and get the components and the knowledge into the different countries to have efficient components locally available. This is normally the most cost-effective solution, and we're very happy to have this. Key to very efficient buildings like passive houses and EnerFits are the quality assurance schemes. So on one side, the certified components is very important for quality assurance. And then the building certification is another step. And we have also, as you may know, quality assurance schemes, so trainings available for passive house designers, also for the craftspeople on the building side, the site supervisors, the energy auditors. So we have PHPP expert trainings, and this is all with the same goal to ensure that the high quality is really met in the buildings. So no performance gap between the calculations and the real buildings or the real retrofits. This quality assurance is available also in various languages through various certifiers. So there's also, for Turkey, there's also first certified buildings available. So we have passive houses, NFITs, and there's also a fallback option if for some reason, for example, the components are not available, you need to use not so efficient components. There's also the seal PHI low energy building. So these three seals, passive house and NFIT, is then divided into passive house classic, NFIT classic, plus and premium, in case you have also renewable energy production. These are our seals, and I invite you to check out the building certification guide. Here you find more information in English, but translations is also available and ongoing. So please let us know if you miss something or you need something. We are very happy to assist. I will come to an end with a few conclusions. So the NFIT standard is climate friendly, but also cost efficient and easy to do in all climates. And climate protection is our major goal and our big task for the next 10 years to avoid big changes to happen. So we have to now act and exploit the possibilities that we have in the building sector fully. That means applying the NFIT standard to existing buildings, applying passive houses when we need to build new buildings, and avoid, for example, lock-in effects that come with not so rigid funding schemes. I put here the German current funding scheme as an example. So for the politicians, we need financial incentives to implement NFIT, to implement passive house now, because there's no incentive to do it because of the little bit higher investment costs. But in the long run, the costs are lower. So it is the most cost-effective solution, but we have to give a little incentive for them to cover the additional investment cost. Many NFIT examples that are already out there prove that the end customer pays permanently low energy costs. So the additional investment costs for passive house components play only a minor role and are outweighed by the advantages of using passive house components. We have a very low energy consumption, of course, but we also have huge comfort in the retrofitted buildings, because passive house components ensure higher surface temperatures, no mold, always fresh air, because you have the ventilation system. And these are additional advantages that we get for free. And finally, the project planning, according to the passive house planning package, is ensuring that we reliably achieve the targets, and that also we are achieving that in the reality. So the buildings that we build or retrofit with passive house components are very low energy buildings. So energy consultants can use this tool to convince clients, show the energy and the cost savings that can be expected, and the EnerFit standard is easy to plan and to implement. I thank you very much for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions or comments that you might have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susanne, for your presentation. I think that it was a very valuable presentation. It was a lesson for us. And now I want to show you the presentation Giorgia sent us. She couldn't join us live, but forwards her presentation. But before, I would like to share a short biography of Giorgia with you. Giorgia managed the International Pacifiers Associations, communicating with stakeholders worldwide on Pacifiers principle and policy. Previously, she studied at the University of Tübingen and has worked on EU projects, including Train to NZEP and Symphonia. She speaks at events on policy issues, including the COP24, and a member of the Global Alliance for Building and Construction and group of experts on energy efficiency for the UNECE. Yes, we can show her present.
Hello, my name is Giorgia Tzar, and I manage the International Passive House Association, or IPHA for short. I'm here to talk to you today about who we are, what we do, and how you can benefit from our various activities and the materials we've produced. But first, who we are. IPHA is a full-time team of 3, including my colleague Karl Halbach here at the bottom left, my colleague Francesca Rober at the top right, and in the bottom right corner, you can see our student, Lakshmi Arvind, who helps out 2 days a week. IPHA was founded back in 2010 as an initiative of the Passive House Institute. It was rather a big year back in 2010, as the Passive House Institute also founded a second location in Innsbruck, Austria. As in Austria and in Darmstadt, Germany, we continue to do the research and development, quality assurance, building, component and professional certification, and organize various Passive House related events. IPHA, on the other hand, exists to bring the global Passive House community together and to help promote and advocate for the Passive House standard worldwide. We are ultimately a global network of Passive House stakeholders, including architects and other design professionals, right through to the manufacturers, property developers, the tradespeople, scientists, Passive House building owners, and of course the policymakers and the press. So we really represent a wide variety of different Passive House enthusiasts and experts alike, and we continue to grow every year. We have over 5,000 members at this point, representing over 50 different countries. And we're also lucky to partner with over 22 local Passive House organizations called affiliates, who are unbiased local Passive House associations that advocate for the Passive House standard in their local country. In Turkey, for example, we have SEPEV. We also provide a range of exclusive member benefits, and I'll go into those in a bit more detail in a moment. But first, IPHA aims to think and act local, as our motto suggests. So we advance and communicate the international Passive House concept worldwide by bringing the knowledge to the local level from the international Passive House organizations, many partners, and of course the Passive House Institute, and also bringing that partner's information up to the global level and spreading it around. We have a range of member benefits, including full access to Passipedia, our Passive House encyclopedia in a wiki tool format, various discounts on Passive House training and events, as well as services, webinars and other community events to keep you engaged and learning more about Passive House and meeting more people from the global Passive House community. Presentation in an online member database, which shows your qualifications and how people interested in building or retrofitting to the Passive House standard can get in touch, as well as other great benefits like regular newsletters and various Passive House and IPHA materials. And better yet, by becoming a member of your local affiliate, for those of you in Turkey, that would be SEPEV, you automatically also become a member of IPHA for the same price as your local membership, which means that you get to make the most of all of those local benefits and events, as well as those of the International Passive House Association. And here you can see the International Passive House Association's reach. As it currently stands, we have over 22 different affiliates, and you can see we cover most of Europe and North America and the South Pacific, and we are growing in South America. You can also see countries that are a pale green are places where we have members, but we don't yet have an affiliate organization. But we do hope to change that. And for those of you in regions where we don't yet have an affiliate, you can always just become a direct member of IPHA as an individual or an organization. So IPHA does a lot of different work. Some of the main work includes disseminating research and information. And we do some of this work by collecting and publishing various lists, such as affiliate literature, including lessons learned and best practices in Passive House from all over the world, funding and legislation in our policy update section for Passive House policy. We also have lists of various places you could stay that are Passive House certified in our Passive House hotel and accommodation list, as well as a variety of crosswalk studies where we have found common ground with other building standards. So you can find all of those on our website and so much more. We also, as I mentioned, have an IPHA member forum where you can ask all of your Passive House related questions, be they technical or social, for example, looking for job opportunities or just interested in networking. We also have international boards where you can ask regionally specific questions with other Passive House experts in your region. And of course, we have Passipedia, which I mentioned before. It is the encyclopedia on Passive House. And there are two main sections of it. There is the basics section, which is publicly available to all. And for those of you looking for more in-depth and peer-reviewed articles, these are only available to members in the member-only area. We also have a range of fact sheets there, which make complex Passive House topics more digestible in a bite-sized format. And of course, we have plenty of publicly available information on our IPHA blog, where we regularly post on various topics, including guides to things such as thermal bridges and U values, highlights of IPHA and Passive House events, interviews with Passive House experts from all around the world, case studies, and so much more. So do check out the IPHA blog. And for those of you just dipping your toes into the Passive House world and wondering about the Passive House Institute, what it offers and what it does, we have a series of freely available videos on our YouTube channel called IPHA Q&As with PHI, where we have interviewed different departments at the Passive House Institute on the work they do and the frequently asked questions they receive. So you can find those on our YouTube in topics like building certification, training and professional certification, research and monitoring, component certification, and more. And we also have a range of regular member webinars where we provide in-depth learning opportunities on a range of detailed technical topics. And those are free to IPHA members and can be accessed by non-members for a small fee. And finally, we also create and publish a range of other content and materials, including infographics, where you could see this on the right, which break down topics into a more graphic format. We have regular component and member newsletters, keeping everyone up to date on all of the new information in the Passive House world, event calendars and weekly posts summarizing what's on in the Passive House community that week, videos, brochures and flyers, presentations and PowerPoints, and of course, different recordings from our many events. And here, for those of you with small children, we have a recording of a book, a children's book on We Are Building a Passive House, which you can also find on our YouTube channel, and is a nice way to explain Passive House to our smaller members of society. So, talking more about what we've been up to this year, we have been working on a joint global campaign with our affiliates worldwide called Efficiency, the First Renewable Energy. And this campaign stems from noticing that efficiency, and especially energy efficiency in buildings, seems to be sliding off the agenda in many countries. And in order to meet our goals for climate protection, we really need to reduce operational energy use in our buildings, especially heating and cooling demand, which makes up the bulk of this energy use. So, working with our affiliates from all over the world, we are raising awareness for the vital role that energy efficiency in buildings plays in meeting our climate goals, and especially highlighting the Passive House is global, replicable, and achievable, and that it is a proven pathway to help meet these goals. We are doing this by creating a range of different materials through the campaign, including videos, flyers, blog articles. We had a really fun competition called Explain Passive House, where we asked participants to use common household objects to explain how a passive house works in comparison to a traditional build. And most recently, we have created an infographic and an accompanying article on Passive House and the Sustainable Development Goals, explaining how Passive House and the SDGs are interlinked and where there are crossovers. So all of these materials are available in multiple languages, thanks to our affiliates who have translated them into languages including Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, German, Dutch, Mandarin, Chinese, French, and also created regional editions to make them locally applicable. So you can find all of those various campaign materials on your local affiliate website or via the dedicated page on the IPHA website. And here you can get a sense of just how many languages there are. This is just a couple of them, but here we see Hungarian, Greek as well. And a big thank you to all of our affiliates for making this campaign global and making it possible. So I'm going to show you a video from our Explain Passive House competition. Here you can see the winner, Andy M from Australia, explaining Passive House as a watertight bowl, holding in the energy, carbon, money, and love that you see written on those brown paper, I guess, covers, and a traditional build or code build as being like a colander or a sieve, just losing all of that important energy and all that good stuff. So you can also see some of the runners up from the competition on our YouTube channel, and you really should check it out. They're a lot of fun. There's one example of a passive house as a warm winter boot and a code build as a croc, those shoes with the holes through them. So do check them out. A lot of fun and a really simple way of explaining passive house to a variety of audiences. We also, of course, have the Efficiency First pamphlet, which details the benefits of passive house, why we should think efficiency first when tackling our building projects, and how efficiency first as an approach helps provide a pathway to meeting our climate goals. And this pamphlet is available in a variety of languages, so check out your local affiliate website or the IPHA webpage to find yours. And here we see the campaign video. This was also produced in a range of languages with voiceovers from the different local affiliate groups. The particular video I'm going to show you is from the IPHA team, but you can also find other languages on our YouTube channel and the websites. Buildings. They play a huge role in our day-to-day lives. From the familiarity of your family home to the office you share with colleagues, the restaurants, cinemas, swimming pools, and entertainment facilities where we spend our free time, to the hospitals and care facilities looking out for our health, and the schools and universities where future generations are educated. Buildings impact our world, yet today's buildings also impact nature in ways that threaten our collective future. Thankfully, achieving better, more sustainable buildings is within reach. By putting energy efficiency first, the Passive House standard reduces heating and cooling demand by up to 90% compared to conventional builds. This ensures comfort, health, sustainability, and savings. Passive House buildings are dynamic, affordable, resilient, and stand the test of time. Buildings impact our lives and our climate, and it is high time to make our indoor environment sustainable for our outdoor one. Efficiency is the first renewable energy, and Passive House is proven to deliver. So there are further activities and events planned throughout 2021 for the Efficiency, the First Renewable Energy campaign. And you can find more information via the IPHA website or by searching the hashtag Efficiency First on most social media channels. So finally, I just wanted to highlight an event and an opportunity to get involved in Passive House. We have the next edition of the International Passive House Open Days happening from the 5th to the 7th of November. And it will be both online and in person, depending on your location's current COVID-19 status. And we look forward to putting on a range of live, in-person and digital events, including tours, Q&As, and informational sessions. We're accepting new video tour submissions for those of you with Passive House buildings in the process of being built or completed. And there is a media kit available for those of you participating with your own building or as an individual checking out various Passive House buildings near you to help publicize your participation and spread the word on better building. So you can follow us on a range of different social media channels, including Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We post news, updates, and upcoming events from all over the Passive House world and highlight amazing Passive House updates and case studies. So if you are interested in finding out more or in staying in touch, then do follow us and find out more about the Passive House standard and its implementation globally. Thank you very much.
Thanks to Giorgia for sending her presentation. There's one question I want to ask you, Susanne.
Sure.
Due to climate change to coming years, there will be more demands for cooling than heating. Is PHI taking the global heating into considerations and making projects for 2015 for new buildings?
Yeah, the latest PHPP version takes into account, well, all PHPP versions take into account the climate data sets. They are usually based on the past climate, the average of 15-20 years. But you have in the new PHPP version the possibility to enter yourself a global warming temperature. So you can add to the climate data set for the city. You can add 1.5, 2 degrees, hopefully not so much, and do a summer stress test. You have an extra worksheet for a summer stress test and see the implications. So do you need active cooling? How much more active cooling do you need? Are you okay with passive cooling measures? So you can do this summer stress test for various situations. And therefore, yes, the answer is yes, PHBP takes into account also our changing climatic conditions. But the first idea is to act now and to actually bring down the energy consumption a lot by applying passive house components for heating and cooling. It will help. Thank you.
It's perfect. Thank you for your answer. Aslında açılış konuşmalarımızı bitirdik ama bir son bir toparlama yapmak istiyorum. Biz
our
Derneği olarak
speeches as the SEPEV PASIFEV association. We want more systems to be there. The time is limited than you think, and with all the systems, we wanted to reach the healthy targets, and that will be a heritage to all this. I'd like to thank we know that reaching zero energy is not only specific to Turkey. In many countries, this has been many challenges in the world, in different parts of the world. There are speakers we will listen to. We wanted the SEPEV day. It is not that it's not difficult for Turkey. I believe that we will achieve it, and I'll salute you with respect.